Welcome to The Strategic Edge, the podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners who want a competitive edge in the market. They want to be seen as the expert in their industry, and they're looking for cutting edge and innovative strategies that work across industries to help them scale their business like a boss. My name is Carden, and I'm your host. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, it's Carden here, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of The Strategic Edge. And you are going to really enjoy my guest today. He's doing some really cool things in the business space and even in, I should say, personal space too. But I have Scott Ballard with me today, and he is called the Confidence Coach. So you know this is going to be a good episode. So Scott, thank you for being my guest, and thank you for being here with me today.
Great to be here the day before Thanksgiving, so it seems appropriate.
I know. Yeah. Who knows when this will air, right? But but I am excited to jump into what you do, the Confidence Coach. I mean, it's clear. First of all, I'm a marketing person too. So, right, I'm like, oh, good. You said exactly what it is. But I know you're doing some really great things. And you very much like I did, you kind of fell into the coaching and consulting space. That kind of happened with myself as well. So, and I think it happens with a lot of us. We don't intend on being coaches and consultants or advisors, but then we realize, gosh, people need our help, right? So tell us a little bit about your business, how you got into it. We'd just like to hear all about you, Scott.
Yeah. Well, I've been a coach for about 15 years, and what we really do is what I've been doing since I was 6 or 7 years of age, and that's to be able to help people understand the potential, the ability, the value that they bring to the world, to their business, to their life. And we work with leaders, with business owners, CEOs, that type of people, to help them to see fully the potential that they have, harness that, and then take their life and their business to the next level. And that's really done through deep conversations that we have. I love a great question. And a great question doesn't necessarily have to have an answer for my client. In fact, most of the breakthroughs or the insights happen when they just have to think about it for a while.
Good. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so a lot of times we'll have a conversation. It will come to an end. And then when we talk the next time or the following time, they go, okay, here's the insight that I got from that question. So we do a lot of work in that area to help people think about their thinking, which is kind of an interesting thing. And that all comes back to me from starting school and then finding out in the 60s that I was severely dyslexic. And so the school system didn't know what that was, had no preparation. So they basically just sat me in the corner and said, you're stupid and you'll be nothing but a janitor your whole life, which is a very harsh, abrupt thing and made me face a lot of thoughts that are very deep and dark in myself. But that was the dark side of it, the kind of the suicidal side at 7 or 8. But like everything, there is also a good side to that. And the good side was I was able to meet Anne on the playground and see the genius in you. I couldn't see it myself because I believed what people told me. But I had the ability to look at you, have a conversation, watch you and go, you know what, you're brilliant at that. And that you should focus more energy and time on that because that's like your superpower. And so I started to use that in my life in sports. I started in business in 6th grade, and I have been able to harness this ability to bring the greatness out of people throughout my life to build in business and in personal relationship. And so that's what we do. We have those type of conversations, and then we have processes that kind of build onto that. For people and their teams.
Yes.
And we're lucky because we get to do stuff that is inspiring. You know, I was telling you earlier, I only work with people that have something inspiring that they're doing in their life, or they wanting to do or wanting to achieve something that has an impact or an influence either in their business or their personal life. And so I'm constantly inspired by our clients and what they're doing. And so that's kind of what we do. Yeah.
I love it. We kind of do, in a way, we kind of do some similar things. I work with a lot of coaches and consultants and professionals. You know, a lot of times they see people coming into the coaching or consulting space, and they're buying into some certification, or they're buying into some, you know, some program, or they're buying into something that isn't within their, I call it your sweet spot. You called it your superpower. It's all kind of the same thing. And they're missing opportunity, you know, to build a great business and have confidence. And that was one of the things that kind of compelled me to want to reach out to you, because they're trying to fit themselves into someone else's box and someone else's, you know, system. And I'm like,
it's not them.
No. And when I questioned them, I said, what was your background? And they said, oh, I'm a doctor. You're a what? You're a doctor and you're in a Facebook group trying to sell $100 services? Yeah, you're in the wrong place. And so it's really fun for them to go, I had kind of like what you said earlier, you had no idea that this could like really be a business and really be, you know, really be successful with it. And so that's kind of the side that I do as well. But I always say, hey, when you're working in your thing that you know inside and out, nobody has to teach you confidence, right?
No.
You have it.
No. You know, one of the things, Anne, that's interesting about what you just said is one of the things we work on, and I just did this with a client last Monday, is an exchange of the lie of who they think they are or what they think their abilities or talents are. And we exchange that lie for the truth of what it really is. And I did this with a client. She owns an in-home care business, very successful. And she had been living and making choices and decisions about her business and her life based on a lie that was 20 years ago. And so we did this transformation of exchanging those lies and identifying them, writing them down, getting them out, and then throwing them out, and then replacing. Okay, what is the truth today?
Yes.
You know, some people call this an upgrade to your self-image, to be present now, right? So that's really powerful. So it really is the identity that we don't see because we don't see ourselves. We have blind spots.
Right.
I look in the mirror and I see one thing, and then I look in the mirror and my coach sees something else.
Yes.
And then he asks questions and puts me in situations where I have to go, okay, well, what's the truth about that?
Yes. No.
And so we hold the belief. You know, I tell my clients all the time, especially in the beginning, I say, I will hold the belief because I know the greatness in you until you can start to own it and hold it for yourself and live into that for your business and your life. So oh my gosh, so powerful, such a powerful thing.
Because people, you know, having that outside perspective, that outside, you know, that extra set of eyes, you're absolutely right. People cannot, you know, I think back to even you had mentioned, you know, you started a business in 6th grade, and I was kind of the same way. I had my first business was getting the neighborhood kids in my basement to do little craft classes, and I was trying them.
I love it.
And, you know, it was because I learned how to do something. I'm like, ooh, I know how to do this and I can teach people. And come to find out, all my businesses kind of started that way. And, you know, the thing is, when you kind of come through that, you know that people have all of this experience and this knowledge and this, you know, these things that are so unique to them that it's so natural to them. They don't even think about it. Like they don't even think there's any value to that.
Yeah. Here's an interesting tool, and you probably do this too, Anne, but I'll give it out to people, and we actually take people through, and we design an email to ask 7 or 9 or 10 of their closest people that know them, work and personal, what is it that you see in me that is great, that has ability, that whatever you want to call it, genius, superpower, And then what is it that you depend on me for?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have them send that out, and they're always very hesitant. They're like, "Oh, this is, nobody has
It's so
it."
embarrassing.
And then we take inventory, and they come back, and then we have them make a statement of their ability, of the truth of who they are for them, and then we have them put it on their phone, on their computer, on every, so that they can start to believe into it and actually live into that fully in their work and their life in every way. But this has really been super helpful for a lot of our clients.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. It's kind of similar when I'm working with someone trying to help them structure their business. What are we going to build your business around, right? Or how are we going to change what you're doing and build something that is going to work for you? And I kind of we look at testimonials from their clients, and we look at results that they've had, in the past experiences, and what have they accomplished? And so very similar to the same thing, except a lot of times those things are kind of already out there that we can pull from and draw from. Yeah. And then we're able to say, yeah, this is your opportunity. And I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So no, we kind of similar.
Yeah. So here's another point of that, Anne, that's really important to remember. Our leaders, meaning the business owner, the partner, the CEO, the VP, whoever that we're working with, we have to remember, in most cultures in a business, they never get that feedback. So they're the loneliest people in the company, although they're the leaders.
Yes.
So almost all of our clients that I've worked with over the last 5 years that have come to us, one of the common denominators they have is, I am alone, I feel alone, and nobody really understands what I have to do and the decisions and choices I have to make, and nobody understands me. Nobody really knows me. And so we want to remove that. We want to uncover that so that they can be known and they can live into that, and they can have that sense of being known. But when you think about a normal company structure, we're not going to have this kind of conversation. If I'm a manager in a department and this woman is the president of the company, am I really going to have that kind of conversation with her? No, not in most cultures. We wish it was true, but we're not there yet. And so we need to do the work for them. And don't forget, if you're a leader listening to this, I already know you're the loneliest person, because I had a company, my last company, for 21 years. I had 4,000 employees. We were in 42 states, and nobody knew me really. And in fact, here's an insight that I have now. Nobody in my company actually knew I was severely dyslexic for 21 years. Although I was the owner, and I hired people that had great ability around me, because I understood that I couldn't do these other tasks because of what I had. But I always felt alone. I always felt isolated within my business. So I never really used my full potential, because I was afraid that people would actually know who I was.
Wow.
I see this all the time now.
Yes. Yeah.
And I say to the owners, I said, well, do your people actually know who you are? And they go, well, no. And nobody understands what it is that I have to do. Choices, decisions, whatever.
Right.
And so we work deeply on that. That loneliness for leaders, I wrote on this recently.
That's really
loneliness for leaders is epidemic. And now on top of it, we've got COVID.
Right.
Okay, so now it's like 10 times more isolation, and so part of our service, our value we create is, I've been there. I've taken a company from my kitchen table, an industry I didn't know, with $100, and built it to the third largest seller of that product in the country in 5 years. So I actually know what it's like to have something really successful and feel more alone and feel like an imposter, going, who am I to be leading, directing. All these people are looking at me like, I don't know anything. I barely
And
graduated
you were
from high
just
school.
throwing things as they were.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's really hard on the self-image. That's really hard on the confidence,
Yes.
right? And if
Yeah.
you don't have confidence, you don't have courage. And then all of a sudden you can start to waver, and you're wondering why is that business owner, CEO making that decision? Well, a lot of it's out of that imposter and loneliness. So we kind of provide the sounding board for that.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. So, if you think about, especially like CEOs and people that are in those types of positions, who do they really talk to? Who do they have to bounce ideas off of? Who, they can't do it to, they can only do so much to people, that are working under them. You have to be careful, obviously, in how you do that. You can't really go out and talk to other people in other companies because there's a lot of confidentiality that has to be protected. You can't go home to the wife or the husband because they don't really understand, right? And so who do you talk to, and who are those people? And, with the value that you provide, like you said, sometimes I'm just a sounding board. I'm just asking the right questions. I'm just giving them that person to talk to, that partnership. Everyone needs that. People, I always say you cannot fly solo in business. You cannot, it just won't serve you.
The other side of that is we get a lot of clients that come to us, and what they have started to do, Anne, is they've started to tell their attorney or their accountant or their doctor about these things in the business. And then they've gotten advice or consultation from somebody that absolutely has no experience in that. And it's caused some serious problems, So, this is a huge thing. And really our job so much of the time, and I say this at the beginning, is to build a trust, and client. And here's the reason why this is so important. We don't have 30-day, 90-day coaching clients. I have clients right now that have been with us 5 years, and they meet with us once or twice every month for 5 years.
Yes.
So we're building a lifetime relationship with these people. But that's trust, that's listening, right? Great leaders are listening. So I listen to them, and I can be on a 90-minute call, and I may listen for 85 of those minutes because I'm the only outlet that's safe and trusted. So if you're out there and you feel isolated, you feel alone, and you feel like you can't tell people, something, that's really a place where I think I love that, because I was in that seat for many years, and I know the consequences of not having that.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, we don't like to think pride comes into it, but it does, especially when you're in a leadership position. There's somewhat pride that, you're going to look bad, or people are going to think less of you. And that people don't get to the top not having some sort of, not having some sort of confidence in what they can do and their abilities. But along with that, sometimes all of a sudden you're in this position where, now, gosh, if I say I'm not good at this, or I'm not comfortable with this, or I need help. I even see this with business owners, small business owners that I work with. They're embarrassed to reach out for help. They're embarrassed. They'll literally sometimes let their companies crumble down around them before they'll reach out for help, because there's just this pride thing. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, I call it drowning in disability.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, drowning in disability is this. Me, and I had to learn this because being dyslexic, school did not work for me. So I had to learn, how do I navigate school so I can play sports? My motivation was I wanted to play sports, so I had to stay in school. So I had a good motivation, but what I had to find is ways, and most importantly, people could help me keep in school so I could play sports till I didn't have to go to school anymore. So one of the things that I tell people when I understand their drowning in disability is I say, who on your team or who could you hire to do that that is what they love to do? Who? So I have a process right here, the Who Multiplier. So I say, what is this thing that is drowning you? What is this thing that's draining you that you think you have to do? And who is it that actually loves to do it? And let's get them on the team.
I love it.
And so I have a little worksheet I take through, and you can actually see the stress and the anxiety. And
Right.
I mean, seriously, on their face, they're like, I don't have to do the books anymore, or I don't have to do this, or I don't. And they have a new life, and it also expands the space to do what they do, which is the genius they bring,
where they're happy, and also where
they're the most productive and the most ability to move the needle in the business or in their personal life or their marriage or whatever they're doing.
Right.
And so the Who Multiplier really, in a way, sets people free. But it's something I learned back in 6th grade.
Yes.
Because the math test, it's not going to happen. Read a book and then write a report for a dyslexic that doesn't read well and has zero comprehension. I'm like, that's not going to happen. So I've got to find a who, and then I've got to find a way for that to work for them and for me. And I continue to do that. I didn't realize this would be a business goal, but I went from the kitchen table and $100 to 42 states because I actually looked for the who. I only did one thing in the company because after a while I was like, I have an MBA that can do that. That's not my, so the Who Multiplier really is all about that.
Yes.
And that's my job as the leader, right? As a business owner, is to surround myself with a great team of who.
Yes.
How remind you, Dr. Seuss.
They want to keep all of that control, right? They want to, I mean, that's the hardest thing for people, I think, is to let go of that control, let go of that ego, let go of that pride, and realize, hey, you don't have to be all that, right? You don't have to do it all. And there are great people out there that can, I always say, we think, and I kind of did this too when I was building small businesses, I would think nobody could do it as well as me. But then when you wear all the hats, you're not doing it that well anyway, right?
Well, think about this. If you do that and you do that very long, where do you end up? Burned out, stressed, overworked.
Yes.
And you're going, why did I start this business? Because I could go get a
out.
job and go home at 5 o'clock and not have any of this. So the answer to it is, what is the one thing or two things that I do that I'm superpower? It energizes me. I'm great at whatever.
Yes.
And then who are the people that can do all the rest? And then what does that do to my business? How does it scale it? Well, it scales it exponentially.
Right. Absolutely.
Because then we've got everybody working in that superpower, and boom, all of a sudden.
And you've also got happy people. I learned that a long time ago. When people aren't happy with what you've got them stuck in, they're not going to stay around. They're not going to be productive. And so when I would discover, if I would hire somebody and I would discover, gosh, this isn't really like their wheelhouse, I would try to move them into something where they just were happy as a clam, and and they just stayed forever in that way. So
well, it's the key to retention in a world. I don't know about you, but all of our clients right now, their number one challenge is filling spots, right? I don't know, but that's what's happening and where we're working. And I always say, then the best thing we can do if we don't have the person yet is retain everybody we have and make sure they're in the right who spot.
Yes.
Right. And so you're absolutely true. But that's a thinking that has to start with the leader. Are they actually doing what they best bring to value and ability to the business? And then are they being honest about, okay, here are the 5 things that I need to get off my plate and give to somebody that they love and they're passionate about.
Right. Oh my gosh. Good information for everyone. Good points. And, it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, what you actually are doing. And really this can apply to life too. You know,
Oh, yeah.
if you are not good at repairing your bathroom, then hire someone to come in and do it. Right.
I'm not the handyman.
That's right. So no, but I think it's so important. And when people do that, and I think for someone like you, and even for someone like me, sometimes they just need that validation that it's okay. It's okay to do that.
Well, I tell people, let's start this small. Let's just pick the one thing that is the most draining that you're doing. And let's get that figured out.
Right.
Let's use the Who Multiplier, figure that out. And then let's talk about, okay, how does that feel now? What's happening? How is that person or company or organization is doing? How is all that happening for you?
Yes.
And inevitably, they always come back and they go, okay, I've thought of 3 more. Like, I actually am not going to be buried in this business for the next 25 years. Like, I can see, I can take a vacation next year.
Yes, light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's going to be okay. And I said, well, why did you start the business to begin with, or become the CEO or whatever? Well, it was for this dream, goal, or vision. Well, part of that is about the business, but part of that is about my personal life, to spend more time with my kids before they go away to college.
Right. Right.
We have a client right now, they're like, that's their whole goal. And it's like, okay, so how do we get that time?
Yes.
Well, we get that time by finding the right who to do these things that you're doing now, you don't need to be doing. So now they have a 3-day weekend every weekend till their boys go to college, to have that time to go to their sporting events and all the different things, so that they have those memories and they go, the business is actually serving us instead of us serving the business.
I like that. That's so good. And I always say, build your life around build your business around your life, not the other way around, because you can always make another dollar. You can't make another minute. Right. And so what at the end, how many times do people let their lives fall apart for a job, or let their lives fall apart over a business? It's so easy to do. It's so easy to get sucked into that. And sometimes people need someone like you or someone like me to come along and say, it's okay. And here's how we're going to do it, because they don't even know anymore. They don't even know how to climb out of that hole that they've dug.
And they've built such a case against themselves that they need to be at the office 60 hours a week.
Yes.
And if they leave before anybody else leaves, that's bad. Now, as a business owner, just to talk about that, if I took all the risk, I put all my money up, I worked all those hours for free, and really the business was for me and my family or whomever to do these, have these dreams and goals in our life, what does it really matter whether I left, at Thursday at 3 to go to my daughter's volleyball game? Or wasn't that part of the original? And they all go, well, originally that was part of the dream of starting the business. So I have time and money to do these things that I really care about. And I go, but you're not doing any of that, because now you've convinced yourself you have to be everything to everybody, customer wise, vendor wise, and with
there's a guilt trip that goes along with it too.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, I don't.
That's self-imposed, Dan.
It is, but
that's not anybody else.
I have been that person, though, Scott. I can remember. It took me a long time when I was building businesses to realize, and it's okay for you to go watch your daughter's basketball game and leave someone else here to run the business. It's okay to do that. But there's a guilt. There's this, but here's the other thing. The more ingrained you are in the business, the more guilty you feel, because, now people are so used to that. They're so used to you having your hands on everything.
So you know what that is? That's the difference between working in a business and working on a business.
Sure.
Right. And so so that's all insight. That's all
it is
mindset transformation. That's all paradigm shift of, okay, what's the purpose of the business? I will ask somebody before I take them as a client, I go, what's the purpose of your business?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll shut up and they'll kind of, it's deer in the headlights. They'll like,
I don't know.
okay. I go, well, why did you start this?
Right.
Well, so that, my kids could go to this college so that we would be able to buy the home in the mountains. Well, and I go, so you
How's
have
that
more time.
going?
So how is that working for you? Well, you're gone backwards.
Right.
So we have to change the way we think about the business. The purpose of the business is what?
Yeah. No,
What's
because everyone starts, for a reason. They have something deep in that they are thinking that makes them even want to take the risk to start the business to begin with. So they either want that freedom or they think they're going to make more money. They want a better life with their family. Yeah. They don't want to be tied down to the 9 to 5, right? Or they don't want to be under someone else's thumb. There's all those reasons and everyone has them. And that's why they start.
And then you start making choices that become this burden.
Yes.
Instead of serving you, it becomes this massive burden. And you're calling me on Sunday night at 7:00 saying, I've worked all week, all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and I'm exhausted, I'm burned out, and my wife is not happy.
Yeah.
This is a real call. And this is a company that in that city people know and is very successful. And yet the owner is really struggling. Meaning not only in the business, but the burden of what he has created by his choices, decisions, and his thinking.
Wow.
Okay.
No, I think that's so true. And those are the people that I end up working with too, because they need that navigation. They need that partnership. They need that sounding board. They need somebody to look in and, oh gosh, this has been great conversation. I know we could be on here a lot longer talking for quite a while, but this has been awesome conversation. And I know that people can say, oh, so that's what I'm doing. If they're listening to this, they're going to realize, oh gosh, just even your question, what is the purpose of your business? I actually want to point that out. That might even be the title of this podcast, Scott. What is the purpose of your business? Such an incredible, it's a very powerful question, because nothing's going to open your mindset more about what you wanted and where you are than that. So I love it. Oh my gosh, that's a question of gold today.
Yeah.
So this has been phenomenal. So Scott, we're going to put all of your links and everything with the show notes, but how can people reach out to you? I did see that you have a free session that you offer people. Who's a good fit? Who are good?
Well, I think the people we've been talking about, the people, Ann, that you've worked with for years, the people that make our ideal client, and I think I was telling you this earlier, are CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners, partners, whatever, that feel stuck in some way. They know it's not what they want it to be. And yet they still have the ability to know that there's some inspiring thing that they want to do in their business or in their life, and then be able to communicate that. And those are the people that we serve the best and bring the greatest value to. And, we really are about people having an insight, making a breakthrough, where they didn't see it possible, or they'd maybe given up hope. Right. And I'll tell you, we've had just some amazing stories from our clients of how we've been able to bring that insight in through those conversations. So I do an hour conversation. It's free. We have a couple of conversations before we ask anybody to think about an investment to coach with us, because we have to make sure it's the right fit for us and for them. So we're not for everybody, Ann. because I can get really deep with somebody and some people aren't ready for that.
Yeah. And then you can't help them if they're not willing to let those.
It have to be coachable.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. This has been so great, Scott. So reach out to Scott if you are in a position where you feel like you need that insight, you need some help to navigate things, you feel like there's more for you, but you're not accomplishing it or you're not getting it. And you just, you need that partnership really for success and to kind of get to a better place in your life or in your business. I want to encourage you to reach out to Scott. I know this has been a really valuable conversation today, and I know that our listeners are going to get so much from it. So thank you so much, Scott, for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ann.
And by the way, everyone, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Again, I'm not sure when this will air. It probably won't air in time, but that's okay. It'll probably air about Christmas time, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we should be saying Merry Christmas, but no, this has been great conversation. And I want to thank you all again for listening to another episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episode as it's released every single week. And until next time, go rock your business. And if I can help you or Scott can help you, please reach out to us. You have people out there who are willing to help you in your business, in your life, be able to live your best life and reach your full potential at the same time. So make sure you reach out to us, and thank you all so much. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.